At a.m., when the world's quiet and everyone else is asleep, Gino was wide awake, eyes locked on his laptop, hands shaking over the keyboard. Why? Because that was the hour he allegedly filed an official tip with immigration, accusing his still legal wife, Jasmine, of marriage fraud. Not rumors, not reality TV drama, real-life legal action, real consequences. This wasn't some vague online thread either. Gino says he poured over receipts, listed transfers, dated emails, visa application costs, and even added emotional labor to his estimated dollar bill. Addable? Maybe not. Petty? Definitely, but he doesn't think so. Gino believes he was used, tricked, and discarded. And now he wants payback. You're watching TLC Drama Files. I'm Oliva. And if you haven't subscribed already, baby, this is the moment to smash that button because chaos this calculated doesn't come often. And I want to hear from you. Do you think Jasmine scammed him or is Gino rewriting history because the breakup bruised his ego? The facts are wild. Jasmine is months pregnant with Matt's baby, living under his roof, learning to dress modestly for his conservative Romanian family while still legally married to Gino. The same man now accusing her of manipulating him, U.S. immigration, and love itself, all for a green card. What no one's saying out loud yet is that Gino helped her apply for that green card. He paid for it. He gave her a wedding. He funded her life in Panama for years. So when she left him and moved in with Matt like she was switching Wi-Fi providers, Gino hit record on every emotional receipt. But here's where it turns murky. Because if Jasmine is such a scammer, why did Gino keep crawling back every time she melted down, flew off the handle, or threatened to leave him? Why did he propose again? After public humiliation, private fights, and endless breakups? And now, when Jasmine is visibly pregnant, emotionally raw, and already being pushed to hide that bump from Matt's friends, Gino strikes. And he doesn't text her. He doesn't call. He files. Quietly, legally, permanently. But is this just bitterness talking? Or did Jasmine really play both men exactly how critics suspected all along? What happens next unlocks an emotional landslide? And the line between victim and villain starts to blur fast. When Gino finally got Jasmine on the phone, his voice wasn't angry. It was cold. Rehearsed. You could hear pages turning in the background as he prepped to read her the email he'd already written. Not to her, but to immigration. The subject line, marriage fraud. The body, a spreadsheet of resentment dressed up as justice. Gino's got itemized heartbreak now. Dollar comma. He said that's everything I spent on you. Panama rent, lip injections, visa paperwork, wedding coordination, the green card process. You owe me all of it. And Jasmine, she laughed. Not a dramatic soap opera cackle, but that stunned, bitter kind of laugh that says, "Are you serious right now?" Because she knew what this was. This wasn't legal cleanup. This was revenge therapy. This was Gino trying to erase the one thing he couldn't control. That she moved on first. He kept going. Anyway. $1 for filing fees, $1 for your visa interview, $1 for the canceled wedding in Miami, attorney fees for divorce prep. And don't worry, I've already alerted the authorities. That green card was a scam. Whether or not the math checks out, the message was clear. You broke my heart. I can't undo that, but I can destroy your future. And for a second, Jasmine's face fell. Her lips tensed. Her eyes froze. You could tell. She wasn't scared, but she was wounded. She wasn't crying over the money or the threats. She was shaking because this was the same man she once begged to have a baby with, who now wanted her deported while pregnant with someone else's child. But Gino didn't stop. He leveraged every dollar like a weapon. "You never loved me," he said, reading directly from the email like it was scripture. "You came to Michigan, got your green card, and then left. And here's the twist." Jasmine didn't deny it. She stared at the screen and then sighed and said, "You paid all this to keep me, but never once did you pay attention to me. You gave me money like it was love. And now want refunds like I'm Amazon Prime." And just when you think Jasmine might fold under the weight of his threats, she turns around and throws the first punch with words that make it clear. She's not playing scared. She's playing furious. Matt smiles with his lips, but never with his eyes. And when it comes to Jasmine, he's mastered the art of polite avoidance. On the surface, he plays the easygoing partner, the one helping her zip up dresses, giggling through petty arguments, pretending everything's fine. But underneath, there's distance. Controlled, careful distance. You can feel it. He hasn't introduced her to his family, not his mother, not a cousin. Not even an aunt at the family barbecue. Jasmine keeps asking why, and every time Matt dodges it with the same vague line. "They're not ready. We'll take it slow." Slow? The woman is months pregnant. There's no more time to take. When David, Matt's closest friend, finally enters the story, he becomes the thermometer for Matt's emotional climate. Jasmine shows up in a fitted maternity dress. Her bump impossible to miss. And Matt instantly tells her to cover it. "My friend doesn't need to know everything," he mutters. But this isn't some casual gathering. This is Jasmine's first real connection to Matt's life outside their apartment, and she's being asked to hide the most obvious truth about her existence. David doesn't miss a beat. He scans Matt's shell-shocked face and asks point blank, "Why haven't you told your family about her?" There's a beat of silence like Matt forgets how to speak. Then he whispers, "Because she's still married. And my mom is very old school. She'll think I brought a curse into the house." It wasn't just about modest dresses or religious shame. It was about control, about looking clean in a family photo while standing next to a woman buried in controversy. Matt wanted Jasmine as a secret he could manage, not a partner he'd defend. Jasmine isn't clueless. She feels the tension. She calls it out. "You don't want me around them because you're embarrassed, or but why you choose me if you can't own me publicly?" No response. Just that same frozen stare Matt gives when his two videos, family man and secret partner, start glitching over each other. And this is the moment David senses something deeper. Matt isn't just hiding Jasmine. He's hiding from the consequences of wanting her at all. But then Matt says something to David, not to Jasmine. That flipping exposes the real reason he's hiding her. And it's not tradition. It's fear of being exposed as a man who doesn't know what he wants anymore. And what he says next about how this all started at the gym. Jasmine won't ever forget it because the sentence after that hurts more than Gino's entire email. Jasmine walks into the room trying to look calm, but she's glitching. Her edges are raw. The makeup's on. The dress is tight, but underneath she's unraveling. Months pregnant, legally married to one man, emotionally confused by another. And now she's been hidden again. This time, not in secret, in public, right in front of David, the only person connected to Matt's so-called real life. The moment she realizes David doesn't know who she is, not even her name, her status, the baby, It's like someone pulled the floor out from under her. How do you carry a child for someone who won't even acknowledge your existence to a friend? You can see the shift. Jasmine's not trying to be liked anymore. She's not trying to make a good impression. She's tired. She's embarrassed and she's hurt. So, when the small talk starts, she doesn't play along. David says, "So, how did you two meet?" Matt nervously laughs and mumbles, "At the gym. Kind of like witchcraft." Witchcraft. That's when Jasmine's eyebrows shoot up. Her whole body goes still and her voice drops. Witchcraft? Are you serious? She isn't humored. She's humiliated. He made her sound like a joke, like a trap. Not someone worth standing next to, let alone starting a family with. Matt thinks he's being funny. But Jasmine hears it as the final proof she's an accessory to someone else's shame. David watches her closely. He's been quiet, neutral until now. Even he looks uncomfortable. Jasmine sees it. Matt doesn't. She claps back, not with calm clarification, but with fire. "Do you know I'm still married? Does he tell you any truth? Or am I the witch with a baby and no real face?" David sits frozen. Matt starts to laugh again, nervous, always deflecting. And Jasmine snaps. She spills everything. The existing marriage, the custody threats Gino made. The silence from Matt's family, the mess, the madness, all of it. She talks too much, but this time it doesn't come from chaos. It comes from desperation. She's trying to prove she exists. But when she opens her mouth in front of David, she doesn't defend herself. She detonates. And even David, who walked in with no opinion, walks out shaken. Because hiding Jasmine is no longer a quiet option. She's forced her way into the narrative now. And Matt, he's got nowhere to run. Next, David confronts the part Matt has been avoiding the whole time. If Jasmine's the one telling the truth, what does that make you? David thought he was meeting his friend's girlfriend, maybe sharing a laugh, offering some advice, and heading out with a handshake. What he didn't expect was to become the third wheel in an emotional battlefield where truth slips out in pieces and trust is nowhere in sight. At first, he tries to keep it casual. He smiles politely, asks safe questions, clocks Matt's tension, but doesn't push until Jasmine, exhaling like she's been holding her breath for weeks, blurts the words, "Actually, I'm still married." David freezes. His eyes bounce from Jasmine to Matt. He blinks. Like he misheard. "Wait, you're what?" And Matt, this whole time thinking Jasmine wouldn't say a word, immediately panics, but still says nothing. He won't confirm, won't deny, just shifts in his seat and lets the awkward silence do the work. David's entire body language changes. No more relaxed posture, no more small talk. This just got real. He's not just seeing red flags. He's sitting between two people in a house built on them. He turns to Matt, confused. "You didn't tell me that." Matt shrugs. "It's complicated. But it's not. Not for David and not for anyone watching. Jasmine is pregnant with Matt's child. She lives in his house. She's visibly showing. And she's still legally attached to another man while that man is now emailing immigration because he thinks this entire thing was staged. This is the moment David becomes more than a friend. He becomes the mirror, showing both Jasmine and Matt exactly what they look like from the outside. To Jasmine, he says softly but blunt, "I don't know what you want me to say. You're not his wife legally. You're more like his guest right now." To Matt, he saves no punch. You brought someone into your life, into this country without any plan. And now there's a kid involved. You expecting me not to react? Matt tries brushing it off with a joke. Something about Jasmine being his beautiful roommate. But David doesn't laugh. He leans back, nods slowly, and says, "Dude, you've got a whole human life growing here. And you're worried about what your mom might think." But when David finds out Jasmine is still married, his face says what Matt refuses to say out loud. Shame, fear, accountability, and a slow-growing panic. That the lies already burned bigger than anyone expected. And Jasmine, she's watching him see through the act. And for once, someone on Matt's side is calling it what it is, a mess of Matt's own making. Coming up, Matt tries to reclaim control, but ends up making a public mistake that blows his last shield away. Matt's defense mechanism, humor, but the kind that leaves bruises. So when David presses him about how all this began, he shrugs and says, Jasmine used witchcraft. Witchcraft. He wasn't serious. Or so he claims. But that one word wasn't harmless. It was loaded. It wasn't a joke. It was a dodge. A cheap way to frame himself as the helpless victim who got lured in, tricked, seduced, and now stuck with a woman he won't take responsibility for. You know how it is, Matt smirks. She must have done some kind of magic. Had a voodoo doll stabbing me in the butt or something. Cupid with a knife. David looks horrified. Jasmine even more, because that word which isn't funny when you're the one being labeled. It's what men say when they don't want to admit they made their own choices. It's what they say so they can look innocent when they were the ones doing the chasing. Let's say it plainly. Matt pursued Jasmine. He brought her into his home. He agreed to this whirlwind before the documents were signed, before the marriage ended, before the dust on Gino's suitcase had even settled. And now that people are raising eyebrows, he wants to play the fool, the possessed one. Jasmine doesn't let it slide. She cuts him off loud and sharp. Oh, so I'm a witch now. Well, funny how the witch lives in your house, carries your child, and hides your secrets. She calls out. Exactly what the witchcraft narrative does. It paints her as someone dangerous, manipulative, and irrational. But only to avoid admitting that Matt made every decision with his eyes wide open until it got inconvenient. David doesn't even try to fix the mood. He sees the problem for what it is. A man using old cultural fears to dodge new emotional responsibilities. Matt tries to laugh again. Polite chuckle, weak smile, but there's nothing left to spin. Not when Jasmine is standing there, bump out, eyes locked in disgust. Not when the charming misunderstanding becomes a character assassination. She says, if I'm a witch, then you're a coward. Because only cowards blame women for the fire they started themselves. But what Jasmine says next instantly flips who's the victim and who's the manipulator. She reminds Matt and David that it wasn't a spell, it was a choice. One Matt made over and over, even when it meant hiding her. Her comment unlocks a moment from Matt's past. And suddenly, it's not just Jasmine he's scared of. It's repeating history he never resolved. This isn't just a messy relationship at this point. It's a cultural car crash in slow motion. On one side, you have Matt's Romanian upbringing. Devout, traditional, deeply Christian, where having a child out of wedlock isn't just frowned upon, it's considered shameful. Respectability isn't optional, it's expected. And family, it's everything. Or at least it used to be. On the other side is Jasmine. Open, raw, unfiltered, and painfully honest to a fault. She speaks before thinking and lives with her emotions poured all over her sleeves. She's not trying to be proper. She just wants to be real. And for a man like Matt, that's not just different. It's terrifying. Every time she tries to express herself, he wants her to lower her voice. When she dresses up, he wants her to cover it. When she speaks her mind, he whispers apologies to the people around them like he's embarrassed to exist in the same room. He claims it's about his mom's heart condition, but it's not. Because Matt isn't protecting his mother from Jasmine. He's protecting himself from being seen choosing her. This is the fracture point viewers feel deep. Jasmine isn't fighting to fit in. She's fighting to belong in a space that's clearly never been built for her. All she ever wanted was to be a part of Matt's circle, to be introduced, to be acknowledged. But every door is locked. Every window fogged up. She is growing this man's child and still doesn't know what his mother's voice even sounds like. And somehow, amidst the silence, she's supposed to wait patiently while he decides when she's acceptable. She won't. And that becomes crystal clear when Jasmine tells Matt casually but intentionally that she's already started picking baby names alone. No discussion, no Matt, no compromise. He looks stunned. But she just shrugs. Well, your family doesn't even know me. Why would they care what I name your child? It's not petty. It's power reclaimed. A small act, but one loaded with the years of rejection. Because even though Matt's family doesn't know her, Jasmine's naming the baby without him. And deep down, Matt knows. This is the cost of keeping love quiet. Eventually, it stops waiting at the door and walks out without you. And this time, it might take the baby with it. The past comes roaring back. Gina delivers his final letter, and Jasmine discovers it's anything but final. It was never going to end quietly. Not with these two. Not after everything they'd yelled, screamed, withheld, and broken together. This wasn't just a breakup. It was an exorcism. And as Gino sits in front of his computer, eyes squinting behind those thin frames, reading the email, you can tell this is his revenge letter, not some emotional goodbye. A sentence. A sentence meant to follow Jasmine around forever. He starts with the money. Of course, he does. I sent you more than $, comma, he reads flatly. No eye contact, just lips moving as he scrolls. Panama expenses, cosmetic surgeries, your green card process, the wedding that never happened. Money for your family, my time, my dignity. Jasmine stays silent for the first full minute. It's rare, maybe historic. Gino continues. I invested everything I had, not just money, but my life, Jasmine. And you took it. Got your visa, got into the US, got comfortable, and ran to Matt's house like I was a broken Wi-Fi connection. His voice cracks, but only once. Then he goes cold again, and now you're having another man's baby while still legally married to me. You think this is just heartbreak? It's fraud, and I've contacted immigration with evidence. Time stops. Jasmine blinks hard like the air got sucked out of the room. Her lips press into her clenched teeth. And then she laughs. A single, sharp venom-soaked laugh. Evidence, she says. Steady. The only thing you ever invested in was control. You didn't buy love, Gino. You paid rent and you think that makes you a landlord for my life. Gino breathes in, trying not to react. But Jasmine isn't finished. You shouted love, but whispered shame. You wanted a Barbie doll, not a wife. Cry about your money all you want, but you weren't tricked. You were chosen over and over. You ended it every time you didn't get your way. She's glowing red now. Rage. Disbelief, old wounds ripped open. But the hurt behind her eyes bleeds through. The fury. Because even now, even after all the venom on both sides, she still hoped he'd leave her alone. Let her move on. But Gino digs deeper. I should have seen it from the start. He spits. You cried about everything, but never cared about me. It was always about what you needed. You begged for a baby, then gave it to someone else. I want my money back. I want the time back. That's the problem. She cuts in. You always wanted. You never gave. Not really. Not love. Not support. You only show up to remind me what I owe. Never what you lacked. Silence. He's not listening anymore. He's spiraling. He rants about her timeline after arriving in America. How fast she moved in with Matt. How convenient it all looked. How he stayed up night after night wondering, was I being played this whole time? And from his point of view, it's fair to ask. But here's the part no one says out loud. Gino knew who Jasmine was from day one. Every overreaction, every breakdown, every time she weaponized her pain and exhaustion, he was there. This wasn't betrayal. It was predictable chaos. And Gino placed his bets anyway. Now he wants a refund for a gamble that didn't win. But Jasmine, she's done explaining. I didn't scam you, she snaps. I begged you to love me loud, to choose me, fight for me, build a future, not just fund it. Did I mess up? Yes. Was I lost? Yes. But you never saw me. Gino goes quiet. Not because he agrees, but because deep down, there's nothing left to say. She continues lower now, her voice trembling, but clear. You were the safe option I tried to force into happiness. But you never made room for the real version of me. And now you want to bury me with fake claims because I didn't stay miserable. She stands still like stone, eyes wet but unflinching. And then comes the knockout. Jasmine gets close to the camera, straight into the lens that Gino is hiding behind and says, you want immigration to come find me? Fine, let them. But remember, I have your messages, your gifts, your promises. You are planning baby names, too, Gino. So, if you want to go legal, let's both go legal. You don't scare me anymore. But Jasmine's last words to Gino aren't an apology. They're a warning. A clear one. This was never fraud. It was failure. And you don't get to punish me because you couldn't fix it. She ends the call. And for the first time in all the seasons, breakdowns and back and forths, it finally feels over. Like both of them slammed a door they'll never reopen. But just as relief starts trickling in, Matt walks into the room. Phone in his hand, face white as a sheet. Because what Jasmine doesn't know yet, Gino might not be the only one who made a call that night. It's quiet now. No more yelling, no clattering dishes, no half-jokes to smooth over disaster. Just Jasmine sitting alone on the edge of a bed that doesn't feel like hers in a house that's starting to feel like a lie. The camera doesn't show her crying anymore. She's past that. Or she's tired. In a way most people can't describe, like she's been held underwater by two different men. And every time she coughs up the truth, someone shoves her back under. Matt's not in the room. When he walked in after her fight with Gino, he had one job. To reassure her, protect her, tell her, I've got you. Instead, he looked at his phone, looked at her belly, and asked quietly, "Did you really say I'm ashamed of you in front of David?" That was it. Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "Do you need anything?" It was all about him. His image, his embarrassment, his corner of control slowly slipping. Jasmine didn't answer. She doesn't need to. The answer is everywhere. On the walls of this house. She walks like a ghost inside. In the silence coming from Matt's family, in the locked-up room where her life is a secret the neighbors aren't even supposed to suspect. Meanwhile, Gino's on TikTok or Reddit or wherever bitter. Exes go when they think a vengeance makes them right. People screenshotting the email, dissecting his receipts. Wondering if he actually filed, or if it was a very expensive meltdown dressed up in legalese. But either way, the damage is done. Jasmine's status is now under scrutiny. And when immigration gets involved, it's not just about who used who anymore. It's government-level questions with life-changing consequences. She's not stupid. She knows what this could mean. She also knows how bad it looks. Matt's silence. And Gino's accusations, her existing marriage still hanging legally in the air. These aren't plot twists, they're evidence, but she's still carrying that child. That part doesn't pause. And through all the noise, she's still showing up to doctor's appointments, still searching baby names alone, still trying to nest in a place where she has no permanent address. Not emotionally, not legally, maybe not even physically. Depending on how fast Gino moves with his threat. Matt's behavior afterward is more subtle, but worse in its own way. He pulls away without ever saying he's pulling away. He leaves the room quietly, talks in fewer words, texts. Instead of calling. He's not admitting guilt, but he's reacting like a man who's realizing he might have built a nightmare instead of a family. He's not protecting Jasmine. He's managing optics. David's blunt words still linger in the air like secondhand smoke. You're not her husband. You're just the guy she's staying with. And the worst part. Matt didn't even deny it. And this is where maturity, or the lack of it, finally exposes all three players. Gino wants punishment. He thinks consequences will heal betrayal, but all it's doing is dragging them both into deeper waters. He doesn't want Jasmine back. He just doesn't want her happy without him. Matt wants the baby, maybe. Or Jasmine. Maybe. Or approval, maybe. But when forced to choose, he picks silence. He hides behind. It's complicated like it's a wall, not a delay. But babies come. And time's not waiting for him to grow up. And Jasmine, her crime, if you believe there is one, is emotional flooding. Saying too much too soon to too many people. Fighting with her mouth because it's the one weapon she's never run out of. But it comes from fear. From years of not being safe unless she shoved herself into the center. And now she's trying to protect this baby without protection herself. She's not an angel, but she's not a fraud. Not every messy woman is a manipulator, and not every quiet man is innocent. She's waiting now for Matt to step up, for Gino to back off, for someone, anyone, to love her without asking her to shrink. But here's the problem. Matt never promised his mom wouldn't find out. And that phone call he received just after the Gino blow-up, that wasn't a work call. He looks at Jasmine, phone still in hand, eyes unreadable, and says, "My mom wants to meet you, but she doesn't know everything." She turns slowly, nearly whispering, "What exactly does she know?" He hesitates. Breathe in. Hold. She doesn't know you're pregnant. And if you think the secrets are done, wait until Matt's mother gets looped in, because when she shows up, there might be nothing left to hide behind. The gloves are off and the final judgment isn't coming from internet strangers, immigration officers, or screaming exes. It's coming from the woman who raised Matt, and she's walking into the storm with eyes wide open. Matt's mom meets Jasmine and says 5 words that stop the room cold.